Hi, I'm Kathy Cruz. I'm a retail coach, a retail store owner, and host of the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. I personally know how busy shopkeepers are, so I like to keep podcast episodes short and sweet. These bite-sized podcast episodes, though, they're full of value because I want to help you work less, profit more, and grow your business. This short video introduction is going to be followed by a podcast episode, so feel free to multitask, especially if you have your AirPods in. But sometimes you're going to want to take notes. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you get notified every time I publish a new podcast episode or a new video. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening.
Independent retail business can mean so many things these days. A brick and mortar store, an e-commerce business, a maker's online shop, a booth at an antique mall, and more. No matter which category you're in, Kathy Cruz, a fellow retail business owner and retail educator, will teach you how to market and manage your business efficiently so you can spend time doing other things you love. Welcome to the Savvy Shopkeeper Podcast.
Welcome to episode 67 of the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. The one thing that makes you wealthier than profit. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. So I'm sitting here, if you're ever wondering what it looks like when I record, I'm sitting in my home office and I have a hooded sweatshirt on with the hood up, a blanket draped over my lap because it dropped about 40 temperatures here in Cleveland, Ohio. And of course, I should just turn up the heat. Instead, I'm sitting here all bundled up, sitting here recording the podcast. So thought I'd give you a fun visual of what it looks like to record today for me. Before I get started on this episode, I want to do a quick shopkeeper shout out. This Apple podcast reviewer titled her episode, and I'm pretty sure I looked at her Instagram account, so I know it's a her. I don't know her name though, but she titled the review Super Helpful Small Biz Podcast. And she gave it 5 stars, and I really appreciate it. And she went on to say, I started my small biz more than Clay Co. almost a year ago, and I'm starting to get into all the technical, and she put in parentheses, less fun sides. This podcast makes it more fun to learn about while still providing helpful and digestible information that helps push my biz forward. Keep the episodes coming, and she gave me a clapping emoji and a heart emoji. And thank you so much for the review. I really appreciate it. Yes, I talk about a lot of less fun sides of running our business, and I try to share as many examples or stories. It just makes it easier to relate and to understand concepts. So I appreciate your feedback and your review, and we'll be sure to link your business page in the show notes and the username in case anyone wants to go check this out. It's More Than Clay Co. More Than Clay Co. Okay, let's get started with this episode. So, what is the one thing that makes you wealthier than profit? And today I'm going to talk about your emotional health. That's what it is. You might be surprised that I'm not talking about formulas, math, profit, or pay today. I know, it's crazy, right? What is Kathy doing? My intention for this episode is really simple. It's to highlight the importance of our mindset. I'm happy to say that you won't probably have to take notes today, but you will want to take note of the message. Even though I may have covered this topic a little bit during my mini episodes when the pandemic hit, I recently realized that I don't talk about the importance of our emotional health enough. I want to make sure that I mention that I'm not referring to mental illness or serious mental trauma in this episode. Those aren't the things that I'm talking about. Those, of course, are best handled by licensed therapists, and that I am not. So make sure if that's a situation that you're in, find the appropriate licensed therapist to help you out there. So I worked in a career for nearly 20 years that was emotionally, psychologically, and sometimes physically draining, even though it was fulfilling. And when I left that career, I dove headfirst into entrepreneurship. So last year when the pandemic hit, I realized I never really gave myself time to process many of the thoughts and emotions from the life I lived before Savvy Shopkeeper. And it all really smacked me in the face in 2020. Physically, emotionally, psychologically, all of the things. And I haven't shared this with some of the closest people in my life, so why am I going to share it here in a public place? It's because I know it's going to help many of you. Before the pandemic hit last year, I was in hustle mode, like get stuff done mode. And I was going to swear there instead of saying stuff. You know what I'm saying. I was in this like hustle mode and I wasn't going to look back and I was just going to push forward and I was determined to succeed as an entrepreneur. That kind of hustle. The pandemic hit and I shifted into an even higher level of hustle. Not only was I trying to manage myself and my thoughts, my family was adjusting to this new way of life, and I was repositioning 2 businesses to serve customers better. But then I also started to carry the weight of every other business owner in my community, in the Savvy Shopkeeper community. I know now that I did that to myself. I am not putting the blame on anyone here. I'm mentioning it because I know that's something that I did to myself. Over many years, I became a fixer, a resolver, a mediator. I thought I could be everything to everyone, which meant I had neglected myself. On the surface, after leaving my nearly 20-year career, it looked like I was investing in myself and going all in on myself. I even invested in a business mastermind. But there's what happens externally and then what happens internally. Is anyone out there shaking their head like, yep, I know what you're saying, Kathy? Over the course of my life, just like everyone else, I had accumulated many very strong thoughts and beliefs that were not serving me and that were holding me back. This episode is brought to you by Tundra. Tundra is an online marketplace for retailers in the US and Canada. What I really like about Tundra is that they eliminate transaction fees and markups, and as a result, Tundra empowers their community of buyers and suppliers to keep reinvesting in themselves. As a Shop Small advocate and a buyer for my own retail store, I appreciate that the makers aren't taking a hit on their profit margin when I order from them on Tundra. From home decor to beauty and fashion, there are hundreds and at this point probably even thousands of suppliers to buy from. If you're a brick and mortar store owner and you open a new account, you'll get 15% off everything on the site for your first 30 days. And that's up to $300 in savings per brand. If you're a maker and you want to sell on Tundra, you'll want to go ahead and use the same link too. But to get this offer, visit savvyshopkeeper.com/Tundra. savvyshopkeeper.com/Tundra for the special link. I realized in the middle of this mastermind, when everyone else was soaring, and maybe not everyone else, but a lot of the people in this mastermind were soaring and I was not, that if I didn't address these thoughts in my brain, I wouldn't move forward and I wouldn't be who I genuinely wanted to be or who I knew I could be. So I invested in a coach myself. Shout out to Neil here. And during my coaching, I uncovered so much more than I ever realized. I had so many thoughts that were holding me back. Just to mention a few of the thoughts I uncovered, and there is a long list. Most likely, if you start to work on this, there's going to be a long list for you too. I won't cover them all, but I want to cover some that I think many of you can relate with, or some of you can. And for everyone, it's going to be different. But these were the things that I uncovered. That I have to work hard so that I can take care of other people. The other one is I'll always be poor. I grew up well into poverty, below poverty level, and it was hard. And my brain still thinks that way. I'm always going to be poor. It's always going to be hard to have food on the table. And even though I had conquered and worked through a lot of that and proven that that I'm not poor, that I don't live that way, it was still stuck in my head. The other one is I have to hustle just to get by in life. And I think this one is paired with the poor mindset. The next one is I'm not smart enough to do what I'm doing. I'm not smart enough to be an expert. Oh boy, right? And the biggest of them all is I worry about what others think. I was a chronic people pleaser, and this one blew me away because I never thought this about myself. Like, really didn't think this about myself. But this was probably one of my biggest obstacles. Crazy, right? As a result, this is the biggest takeaway from that. is I was blaming everyone else for not being where I wanted to be. Little did I know it was me that was holding myself back. It had nothing to do with other people. I was doing it to myself. Talk about a massive aha moment. These thoughts were causing, I get, without sounding melodramatic, these were causing a bit of turmoil, like inner struggle within me. None of them were serving me well. None of those thoughts. Because what I was thinking was not aligned with who I wanted to be or how I wanted to live my life, it caused a lot of inner struggle for many, many years. I just didn't know it. So you may or may not be able to relate to my thoughts or inner struggles, but I'm sure there are some of you who are thinking like, yes, Kathy, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think that too. And I'm sharing some of these really personal things because I know many of you have thoughts that are holding you back too. I know because I see it in the shopkeepers in my communities. I see it in one-on-one clients, and I help them work through these thoughts, which then helps their emotional health. The number of times I see them sigh with relief, drop their shoulders because there's this like big weight lifted off, or when a huge smile forms on their face because they're discovering more positive and energizing thoughts, it's really incredible. That is the joy in the work that I do. When I think back, I often felt like something was off or something wasn't right, or why was all of this so hard? I didn't realize that I needed coaching for myself. Talk about a palm to face moment. Can you picture that little emoji? That's me. That was me. I often said to myself, why didn't I see that on my own? Once I started identifying what those obstacles or what the negative thoughts were in my head, I just thought like, why couldn't I see that myself? And the expression, you can't see the forest for the trees, applies here. We become so caught up in the small details, or we're so in the weeds that we're unable to step back and see what is really going on in our own brains. Throughout my coaching, I learned that my thoughts are the starting point to everything I feel and do. So I needed to identify the many thoughts that were holding me back, and I needed to start shifting them. And once I started doing this, I almost felt like a bit of an expansion from within. I definitely felt weight lifted off my shoulders. And I felt like the clouds above me, like they just started to separate a little bit and the sun started shining in. There was just, I guess, what I really started to experience was clarity. This episode is brought to you by Flowdesk. Email marketing shouldn't be so hard. That's what I thought for years when I struggled using another software program to design and send emails for my retail store. Then Flowdesk came along. Now it's so easy to design and send beautifully branded emails to our customers that convert into sales. I also use Flowdesk to send the Savvy Shopkeeper newsletter. Flowdesk is a woman-owned company and the software is in beta, which means they're still new and building some features, but personally I have loved it. If you have an email list of over 1,000 or more subscribers and you send emails to your customers pretty regularly, you know the monthly price for email marketing can add up. At this time, Flowdesk is offering unlimited subscribers and unlimited emails for $38 a month. But I have a special offer for you. You can have unlimited subscribers and send unlimited emails for only $19 a month. To get half off the monthly price of $38, yes, that's only $19 a month, visit savvyshopkeeper.com/Flowdesk for a special link. That's savvyshopkeeper.com/Flowdesk, FLODESK. Now, let me add that getting coached and shifting my thoughts has not been easy. It is some of the most uncomfortable work I've ever done in my life. Ever. But I can honestly say that getting coached has allowed me to become a better coach. And for this, I am so grateful. We all have different challenging experiences in life, right? All of these experiences play a role in the way we think, and in turn, the way we feel. It could be some type of childhood experience you went through. It could be something that someone criticized you and it stuck with you your whole life. There's so many things that we go through that affect our thoughts. So I just want to cover some of the thoughts around your business that might be holding you back or affecting the way you feel. And this is a list of probably 10 that I have written down. I'm not good at math, so I'll never understand my profit and loss, or I will never understand what profit margin is. Business is hard, so I wish Kathy would stop talking about profiting and working less. I can only imagine some of those episodes if you're having a bad day and you're listening to my podcast where you're just like, just shut up, Kathy. I get it. I'm not good at marketing, so I can't get customers into my store or to my website. I'm not made for video, so going live terrifies me. Why is Susie Q down the street doing so much better than me? I suck at social media, so I'll never be good at it. My business will never be profitable. I can't do it all in 24 hours. I need more time in a day, which isn't the truth. I'm ashamed or embarrassed about what I don't know, so I hide and I don't ask questions, and I'm just going to avoid it all. And the last one I want to mention, because this one has been coming up way more than I've ever heard, I have to do things a certain way in my business to make others happy. Imagine the emotions that follow any of these thoughts and how the ripple effect of all of those thoughts and those feelings can stifle your life and business. To wrap up this short episode, you all know how much of my mission is to teach independent retailers to work less and profit more, but today's episode and the topic of emotional health is just too important to overlook. I now realize how crucial it is to the work that I do. Do not underestimate the power of your thoughts. I'm going to say this again. I want you to pause and I want you to listen, because this is the one point. I feel like I always have everyone pause in an episode just to convey the most important thought of the episode. Do not underestimate the power of your thoughts. Your thoughts are guiding your ship. And I want your ship to stay afloat. Forget about me. You want your ship to stay afloat, right? So if you want to see the show notes to this episode or find links to anything I mentioned, visit my blog at savvyshopkeeper.com/episode 67. It's savvyshopkeeper.com/episode 67. I also want to remind you that the application of my small group program, Work Less, Profit More, and Grow, is open. And I'm really excited about this program because I can help a whole group of you at once. Like, I've identified that a lot of the clients that come to me for the same 3 things. And I can help a small group of you do that at one time. We'll also work on your mindset. So let's work on those limiting beliefs together. And you can visit shopkeepersacademy.com to apply, or we'll have it linked in the show notes, of course. I genuinely hope this episode helped you. I hope it, even if it just means like, okay, somebody gets me, somebody understands, someone's going through what I'm going through. It's not just me. I would have loved an episode like this years ago to identify that it was the thoughts in my brain that were holding me back and nothing else. I would have loved for someone to share that with me. Again, I genuinely hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, you can all PM me on Instagram at Savvy Shopkeeper. You can also use the contact form on my website. If you're an email subscriber, you can always reply to my emails. I get those replies and I respond to all of them. So until the next episode, be savvy and boss up.